This is a story on colorism. Yes, it exists. No, we aren't succumbed to the bias of darker blacks versus lighter skinned blacks. But what we do understand is 1 out of 3 of our children is of a different hue. And it's a parental plight that you wouldn't understand if your children aren't already stereotyped because of their skin color. Now, we believe black is beautiful. Whatever shade of African American you are, you're beautiful. But the world will highlight the parts that build damaged esteem. And if you're blind to that fact, that colorism is real, that the bias on skin complexion is a fact, and that lighter skinned people have more advantage in many ways compared to darker skinned people, then you're living under a freaking rock. Again, when you hear Felicia's testimonial, she's not speaking from a place of shame, but she's aware and has a concern for our oldest son when comparing himself to his younger siblings.
I want him to be brown like me, the same brown like me.
Why?
Because we're supposed to be twins, brothers. We're supposed to be twin brothers, and I want him to be just like me. He's almost just like me, except his skin. His skin is light, like yours. And I want it to be dark, like mine. I was light when I was a baby, and I think the baby's going to be just like me. He's light, and I think he's going to be brown when he grows up to my age. And I'm still going to be dark. Dad,
Yes.
were you light the whole time you were a kid and a baby?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I think the baby's going to be light, and then he's going to be dark like it happened to me from the picture. I thought that that light guy who was a baby in that picture was you because of the jacket and the skin, but Mom said it was me. And my teacher said I was brown the whole time. And I said, Miss Amy, I was light when I was a baby. Back then. That's Clover! Where is he?
Okay, so I'm sitting at the dinner table with our family, and we're about to eat dinner, but of course we pray first. So we're praying, and at the end of the prayer, my son says, or our son says, and I hope that Saj looks like me when he gets older, or he's brown like me. That's what he says. So I just excused myself from the table. I sat there. I went through it, with my kid. I didn't want to make him feel any way, like it was an awkward moment, but I looked at him. And we just continued. I don't remember whether or not we gave it any attention because I was kind of like in the daze. So once the family started to eat, I excused myself and I went upstairs and I felt my feelings because I'm thinking, how do I explain to my son that he's brown like me, but his sister and brother are not, and dad are not, because so I'm thinking, why can't he just be okay with being brown like me? And then a part of me is like, well, for the same reason that, to be quite honest, when he was born, I had a problem with it. It wasn't that, I'm not racist in terms of brown or dark brown or light or pale, light skin. That's not it for me. What it is for me is, it's just, I'm brown, Sharif is very light, so I just kind of thought our children would be somewhere in the middle. So imagine my surprise when we give birth to our first child. This is number 1. I don't know what the future holds. And he's red at birth. So I'm like, okay. And everyone's like, he's going to get dark. His ears are dark. And I'm like, it's impossible. Like, Sharif is high yellow. And I'm not dark. I'm brown skin. And then as the really weeks went by, like his complexion was totally there by the time he was like 5 weeks old. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, he's still very handsome. But I was just like, I never had a child before. I didn't understand the science of genetics. So I'm just like, I just kept thinking to myself, I'm not that dark. How did I get a child with a light-skinned person that's my same exact complexion? It just really didn't make that much sense to me at the time. And I knew that by him being a boy, by him being, you know, the third, I knew what the expectation of people would be. I knew that the expectation would be, why doesn't this boy look like his father? So I remember the first person who had a lasting effect on me was our cousin. He seen baby Sharif for the first time, and he was like, whoa, I just thought he would be light skinned like Reef. And I kind of gave him the business in that moment, because I was already so fed up with people saying, he looked just like you. And there's nothing wrong with looking just like your mother, especially when you're beautiful. But I'm in love with my husband. I love every single thing about my husband, from the hair on his head to his extra long big toenail. Like, I love this man. I can describe every part of his body. So I just kind of thought that we would recreate my husband and not me. And so it's harder. Like, it was hard initially, but it's like harder now that we have 2 children who fit what I thought we would make, right? And we have our firstborn, who's very introspective and very, I don't know, he thinks. His brain is like so big. He's the child that would be different. So I call my mother-in-law and I'm crying and I'm like, I don't understand this. Why is he feeling this way? And she's like, because when he looks at his kitchen table, he looks different. And I'm like, but he's not different from me, and he's not different from my brother Sam. But when he looks at his kitchen table, he's different.